I think people are calling for structural change, and then you could take the people of Kenosha that aren't here and that you won't see and that aren't protesting, but they want change also. They want to see law and order. That's the change they want. They want law and order. They want the police to be police. They want the police to do what they do better than anybody else in the world, and that's what they want too. You don't see them marching and you don't see them on the streets, but what they want is they want great police force. They want people that are going to keep them safe, where their houses aren't broken into, where they're not raped and murdered. That's what they want. And they're protesters too, but they don't walk down the street, up and down the street. So, just the way it is. Just the way it is.
On this episode of Just Informed Talk, we're going to take a look at the latest breaking news from across the country and the globe. President Trump visiting Kenosha, Wisconsin today to look at the damage and devastation caused by these violent BLM Antifa rioters. And we're going to talk about how President Trump is working to help save America. And we're going to look at how the left and their power systems are working every day to undermine our sovereignty. So we're going to talk about that and a whole lot more. So stick around and check it out. Hi, and welcome to another episode of Just Informed Talk. I'm your host, Craig. You guys know the drill. Today, we always encourage you to start by hitting that subscribe button and hit that bell, then select all so you get notified as soon as all of these videos get posted. Make sure to recheck that you're subscribed because YouTube's been doing their seedy tricks as usual. But also stick around because at the end, we're going to do a segment called God's Grace is Greater that we do at the end of every episode. Today, we're talking about a verse out of the book of 1 Corinthians that talks about how the resurrection is essential to the gospel. And there's a really powerful message there in that. So please stick around to the end for that. But also a quick reminder, this video is brought to you in part by Brave Browser. If you guys want a great product for free, it's an internet browser, just like Google Chrome, Firefox, Internet Explorer, Safari, whatever you're using. It works on Mac, Linux, Windows, and it works on your desktop, your laptop, or your smartphone, and you can get it for free. Check out this product. It's called the Brave Browser. It blocks the ads. It's got a built-in firewall and VPN. And when you download it today, using the link in the description of this video, they'll make a contribution to this channel. And so it's a win-win. You get an amazing product, which I use and I think is great. So I'm encouraging you to check it out. And they'll make a contribution. So it's a win-win. Go check out the Brave Browser using the link in the description below. As always, we go check the Q board. Nothing new except what Q has alluded to about the Democrats or Democrats, whatever you want to call them, and the evil that they are involved with. But moreoverly, it's just the complete divergence between our movement, our followers, our conservative patriots who love America, love God, want the best for everyone, want to help make this world a better place, and the Democrats who, want to control you. They think they know what's best for you, and they want to take control of your entire life, and they want to make you subservient to them, as in make you a second-class citizen, which they've done through censorship and through their, violent actions where we see riots in the streets, them burning down entire cities, and basically advocating for lawlessness, defunding the police, you name it. The list goes on and on. They support abortion. They they want to remove God from the Pledge of Allegiance. They're involved in all types of depravity and immorality, and they think it's normal and fine and good. And, it's just one of those things where you can read through these posts for yourself, when you get a chance. We've already done a show on them before. If you want to watch that, it's right here, all assets deployed. You can go back and watch it. And as you can tell, YouTube has really been hitting me hard with the suppression of my content lately. So if you guys want to share these videos and hit the share button and share it on your social media. I mean, they even put age restriction on one of my videos for the first time ever on this channel, which is completely unfair. I plan on appealing it, so it should get removed because I didn't say anything wrong. But this is just the battle that we're coming into. Is that I was talking to another major channel, a good friend of mine, Sean from SGT Report. We were having a conversation today about this. They are pulling out all the stops. Okay, we were just having a private phone call today about this and some other stuff that I'm going to be announcing later. That's going to be great for us. It's a win-win. We're going to get a new thing going here on the channel. But like I said, if you want to check out Sean's channel, go do it. He's been doing great work for a long time, and he's one of the first channels I started watching on YouTube that kind of red pilled me in a lot of ways. So go check out his work. But we were both in agreement that what's happening is digitally we are being attacked on all fronts. Okay, you have the big tech censors who are all a bunch of leftists who really want to create a permanent underclass for them to rule over. That's their whole mentality and mindset. So how do they do that? They have to silence people who challenge their narratives, who challenge their ideas, which in any world that's normal is crazy, right? But in this world, it seems acceptable for them to, suppress our content, take it out of the suggested video algorithms, and, do all types of things, underhanded, seedy stuff to make the channels go away. And I heard there may be another purge coming up of YouTube where they're just, in all the social media companies ahead of the election in October, they're just going to start deleting everyone. So it is what it is. I know that I put my life to God, and I was telling that to Sean earlier. I was just like, he's like, yeah, they're really coming after us hard. And I said, look, I put it all to God, because at the end of the day, and I know you guys do too, no matter what they do to us, they'll never actually silence us. They may be able to take away our digital voices, but they'll never be able to actually silence us as long as we stand together and stand for what's right. And we have a lot to cover here. So let's just get into the first story. I'm going to play this clip from Tucker Carlson's show because it is probably the most true and accurate statement ever. And if you guys aren't watching Tucker, I don't know what to tell you. The guy is on fire every night. He is literally exposing the criminal, corrupt politicians and their lies every night, just like we're doing here on this channel. So I got to give props where props are due. So here, watch this video real quick, and we'll talk about it.
Biden's 12 minutes today in Pennsylvania may have been the most thoroughly dishonest speech ever given by an American presidential candidate. Virtually every word of it was the opposite of the truth. It was literally beyond belief. But there was at least one honest line in that speech. We want to highlight it for you because that line reveals what all of this is really about. Here it is.
His failure to call on his own supporters to stop acting as an armed militia in this country shows how weak he is. Does anyone believe there'll be less violence in America if Donald Trump is reelected?
Oh, think there'll be less violence if he's reelected? Got it? It's a nice country you have here. It'd be a shame if something were to happen to it. That's not an observation, obviously. It's a threat. And it wasn't a mistake either. It's not a line he just blurted out. That line was in Biden's prepared remarks. His campaign tweeted it out later. They were proud of it. This is the official message of the Biden campaign. If you dare re-elect Donald Trump, prepare for more rioting. You think Biden voters are dangerous now? Wait till you see them in Trump's second term.
So there you heard Tucker Carlson explain it perfectly, right? You hear what they're doing. They're threatening us with the continuation of this violence if we don't vote for them. That's what terrorizing the population is. That's why we talk about these people being domestic terrorists. That's why we talk about these corrupt politicians facilitating it. We talk about the fake news covering up for it and pretending like it doesn't exist as, the city's on fire behind them. They're telling you, hey, it's just mostly peaceful here. Like the three people standing in front of me seem pretty peaceful. Don't worry about the building burning down behind me and the people looting Target or the people committing violent hate crimes based on people's race or political affiliation. Just ignore all of that, right? And just continue to watch us. And look, Tucker is saying it perfectly. It's like mob tactics, right? This is what, the extortionists in the mob do. They go to your restaurant. Hey, you got a nice restaurant here. It'd be a shame if, we bust out if the windows got busted out and it got caught on fire, mysteriously in the middle of the night. And then they pay their fee to the person to protect them. It's classic mafia extortion racketeering. It's like these people are crazy. And I've said this before, I hate being right? Because I'm not like one of those people who's like, oh yeah, I told you so. I'm one of those people who's like, this is what I think is going to happen. And then it just continues to happen. I said, they will destroy this country before they're held accountable for their crimes because they have no options left. President Trump and the military have all the cards and they hold the deck basically. And now you have these politicians coming out and making these kind of statements, which are incendiary in my opinion, and just threats and intimidation. Then they have their violent thugs on the streets enacting those threats. Then you have the big tech censors shutting down anyone who wants to have a conversation about it or show it or point it out or say, I love my country, I don't want this to happen. Or it's Orwellian. It's an Orwellian nightmare. That's what it's like. It's like living through an Orwellian nightmare every single day. And it doesn't seem to be getting better as you have feckless, weak, spineless, coward politicians like Governor Kate Brown from Oregon, right, who comes out here after the Oregon sheriffs had to defy order by her to send deputies to Portland to be attacked by protesters and harassed. But what's amazing is when you hear in this story the reasoning behind all this, it's pretty simple. They're saying, why are we going to send police to a place to arrest people where the district attorney is not going to prosecute them, right? And it blows my mind because these people are out there. They're violently attacking people. They're destroying property, lighting fires, and not only that, just even on just a moral side, they're just disgusting people. And I say that in the most, that's the best way I could put it. That's being nice almost, because it's like, why would you listen to the rhetoric of these people? They say F the police. They say all cops are the worst kind of people in the world, just blanket. They go out and they say a bunch of racist stuff that I won't even repeat here on the channel. They burn Bibles. I mean, this is what we're up against. These are the actions of fascists who call themselves anti-fascists. And then they get protected and they have all these rackets running with the governor and the mayors. And I'm just like, how much more of this can we really take as a nation? I don't know. I mean, it gets terrible. Vernon Jones here was saying that his life was threatened by a violent mob of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris supporters. Well, what's untrue about that, right? They walked out of the RNC and were attacked by people who were screaming, F you, you're a scum, you're the worst kind of person in the world, you're a Nazi, you're a fascist. And it's like, I think these people are too stupid to realize that they are the fascists. They are the useful idiots. They are the paramilitary wing fighting for what? President Trump hasn't done anything to restrict their lives or do anything to come after them. I mean, besides like upholding law and order. And these people have lost their minds. These people are, somebody put it really well the other day. I can't remember who. They were talking about how there's the triad. I think it was Paul Joseph Watson put out a video that was really, it showed the connection between like narcissists who are sociopaths, who are violent and destructive, kind of was like the gist of it. And that's what we're dealing with here. We're dealing with ignorant, narcissistic sociopaths. And it's like screaming Black Lives Matter is okay, fine. Black lives matter, white lives matter, Asian lives matter, Latino lives matter, everybody's life matters. All life matter. Baby lives matter, unborn babies in the womb lives matter, right? But in their world, in their sociopathic, narcissistic world, they think that because you don't agree with them 100% in lockstep that all cops are evil and that we should just get rid of the police and go back to the Wild West where like you just kind of have everybody on their own just kind of going at it, that you're evil. And that's not America. That's not America. That's not an America I want to live in. I don't know about you, but not me. As we have highly organized violent operators behind these recent riots in U.S. cities, and you have Senator Rand Paul coming out saying, we got to figure out what's going on here. Why? Because they're traveling from city to city and organized in their violence. And this ain't no peaceful protest. These people show up with Molotov cocktails. They show up in full battle gear with shields and helmets and baseball bats. And now they're showing up with guns and I think I said Molotov cocktails and chlorine bombs and all types of disgusting. That was what this first story was about here, that they showed up and assaulted these police officers with chlorine bombs. I mean, this is insane. It's insane. And it's only getting worse because people like Kamala Harris and Joe Biden have been tacitly endorsing it, saying, oh, we need to raise money to bail these people out of prison. Right? She organized through her Twitter account and through her campaign, basically, a way to pay for the criminals, the rioters, the looters, to be released from prison. I mean, and then they have the nerve, the audacity to go out and say it's President Trump's fault that these riots are happening and President Trump's causing all this violence. They live in a world where they understand messaging, they understand deception, they understand projection, they understand manipulation, and they're masters of it. Even though to us, obviously, people who are, relatively well informed, it's so obvious everything that they do. And the manipulation and the deception and the deceit. And it's like, so when you really look at it from the outside in, I think it's so obvious, but from their perspective, they're trying to win an election. They're, slimy politicians who, are flip-floppers who just say what they think people want to hear, and then they'll just do whatever they want when they get in office. Unlike President Trump, who, when he made a promise, he kept it. And I respect President Trump, even though we don't agree on every single 100, but it'd be hard pressed to find maybe a couple things that we disagree on, but that's not too many, right? But he is a politician who stands up for not just me and you, but for everyone. And he's doing this for everyone when their whole push from these Democrats is to get power so that they can control you, so they can shut you down. Because if you think that we're all going to have freedom and it's going to be all hunky-dory if they get in office, I highly doubt that. It's going to get worse and worse and worse. They'll take away our free speech rights. We'll start turning into like Great Britain or Australia now, where you can't even like say anything, and you have the thought police. Literally, you have the thought police in Britain and in Australia and other countries in Europe, where if you post something on social media, you have the cops at your door saying, "Oh, that wasn't a very nice post you made there. You may have said some insensitive things about a protected gender or class or race or whatever." So it is, to me, insane the direction that our country has come with these people. It's because they lost power. And that's all it has to do with. It has to do with them losing power. President Trump went to Kenosha, Wisconsin today, and he did visit. And the governor here was pleading yesterday. He was literally pleading, saying, we're concerned what your presence will mean for Kenosha and our state. This is the governor of the state of Wisconsin. And again, these people are weak. They're spineless. They're, political players who only know how to manipulate and deceive. And they just want to cover themselves so that they don't get found out or exposed for whatever they're involved with. And look, I don't really care about what the Wisconsin governor or whatever he says, because he lives in another state, but I do care in the fact that they're innocent, good people. I know probably some of you are watching this from Wisconsin right now, or from even Kenosha, and you've seen what's happened to your state or your city, or you're watching from Minneapolis, or you're watching from Minnesota, or you're watching from Oregon or Portland, or you're watching from, wherever you are, and you see this happening, and you can't go downtown. I mean, you might be able to go downtown if you wear like a BLM shirt and you kind of put on a little disguise and you put your little muzzle on, your face mask, and you kind of try to blend in. You can go, hey, Black Lives Matter, yeah, okay, don't kill me, please, don't hurt me, but go to any of those places I just named, those cities, and wear a MAGA hat and walk around for 20 minutes. Watch what happens, okay? Watch what happens, because I guarantee you what's going to happen is you will be attacked, you will be assaulted, and you will be verbally probably just screamed at and called a Nazi and called a fascist, because these people are narcissistic sociopaths. And it's like, whereas if somebody was wearing a Biden hat, you might have a few Trump people be like, yeah, okay, nice hat, buddy. But I mean, you're not going to get attacked. They're just going to laugh at you, because that's the difference in mindset. We believe in freedom. They believe in tyranny and fascism. And they're backed up by the Silicon Valley elites, like I said before, so-called elites, the big tech tyrants as they were, the Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Google, whatever, those people, they're backed up by these corrupt politicians who President Trump exposed in their coup. So now what's happened is President Trump exposed the coup. That was a deep state operation. He's gone, and I think he's probably taken out a lot of their, black op funding operations in Afghanistan, where they may or may not have been working with Taliban people to grow a certain opioid that then they can sell on the black market and make money to keep their deep state operations going. President Trump may have put a stop to that, and that's why they hate him. That's why they have their paramilitary thugs in the streets committing acts of violence. And these people are too stupid to realize that they're just useful idiots. The DOJ is saying they're targeting and investigating the leaders and funders of the far left groups and rioters. And this is from DHS. This is from on Tucker last night, where it was the acting Department of Homeland Security Secretary Wolf saying, look, we're going to start investigating this. And they should, because at what point is it not obvious that this is all organized? They're getting on planes and they're driving. They're either flying or driving from city to city across the country. And if there's anything that happens, like, a cop sneezes on somebody and they're like, let's burn it all down. Let's loot and riot. We're going to destroy everything. It's crazy. We live in a crazy time. And I keep saying that, but it's like, and I'll leave links to all these articles if you want to read them. But again, the numbers coming out saying 102 of the 175 criminals were from outside of Kenosha, right? So think about that. The vast majority of the individuals who are arrested aren't even from the place. That suggests it's organized, it's coordinated, and it is an attempt to go from city to city with this domestic terror campaign and incite violence. And it's incite chaos and incite looting and rioting. They're Biden rioters. I love what it says here. They're Biden rioters, because that's what they are. And then Biden's like, he finally, after 100 days of violent racist craziness from violent sociopaths, narcissistic sociopaths, he goes, I think Trump should condemn the violence on both sides. Oh, really? So what he's talking about is a group of Trump supporters drove through Portland, I think, or Seattle, one of the two. And they were basically assaulted, and they tried to block the road. They tried to corner them. And this is how that one man, may he rest in peace, the Patriot Prayer Trump supporter who got shot in the chest got killed, right? And so for me, look, I don't think we should be. I really agree with some people who've said, like, we shouldn't be going and engaging them where they are at. Because that just gives better optics for them. That's what they want. They want to have clashes because they want us fighting each other. Guys, you got to remember that. That's what Q told us the whole time. Q is a peaceful movement. We're not, out to, we trust the police. We trust the military. We trust that there are good people being put in those positions of power, because we know President Trump has been working tirelessly to do that. And we know that there's a lot of good, patriotic politicians and governors and mayors that do the right thing, that want to stop what's happening as far as this criminality. So we put our trust in that, and they put their trust in violent, narcissistic sociopaths. That's really what it is. And you could say the same for the politicians on the left and a lot of the governors and mayors and the big tech people, that they're narcissistic sociopaths. And look, I mean, it is what it is. I can't really explain it any better than that. But here you go. More than half of the 100. Oh, we already covered this story. Biden can just stay away is amazing quote from Wisconsin voters who are rejecting him and welcoming Trump's planned visit to Kenosha. And that's exactly what you saw today. They were welcoming President Trump. They were thankful he was there, regardless of what you hear in the fake news, who just, I can't handle it. Sometimes when I'm on my Twitter feed, I just want to scream at the computer, which is what they want too. It's all demoralization, dehumanization, that kind of thing, where I follow all the fake news accounts because I have to be able to see what lies they're telling so I can counter them with the facts and the truth, right? But you watch Yahoo News, you watch the Washington Post, New York Times, they just tell bold-faced lies now. They don't even try really to tell the truth anymore. They literally just tell lies, and for the most part, I should say. But it's incredible. You read some of these stories, and they will literally report the exact opposite of what's happening, and it's mind-blowing. But you understand the evil that we're up against, right? So here's another example. Oh, this is the story I want to talk about with the 4 young leftists who were found to be hurling chlorine bombs at police officers. This is insane. And look at these kids. They're just idiots. I'd have to say, if you're accused and sentenced for throwing Chlorine bombs at officers, you're just a moron. And you know what? We were all 18 at one point, and some of you are maybe around that age, but we were all kind of stupid, but we also were not like violent criminals who were orchestrating terrorist activities inside of major U.S. cities. I mean, it's one thing to maybe, make a mistake here or there, but it's a whole nother thing to be indoctrinated to the point where you become a domestic terrorist and start violently assaulting police officers. And these kids are the victims, in my opinion, even though they did commit the crimes and they've been punished. I think got 60 days in jail and 2 years probation. But because they did really hurt one of the officers. I think one of them had pretty bad burns from it. But the thing is, they're just as much a victim of this everything, the big tech, the lying politicians, the fake news, the violent Marxist socialist organizers, the radical leftists, the Marxists that you talk about, like, people like Sean King and other people Keith Ellison, who support Antifa and all that stuff and support this kind of destruction that's happening abroad, or broadly speaking. They're the victim because they're the useful idiots, these kids. And that's what's so sad and so discouraging and so disheartening. And look, this is just a part of the public record, so I'm just putting it out there for you guys to see. The police are tweeting it out and putting this out, and this has been reported on. But it's like, here you are. After cheering BLM and ignoring riots for weeks, Democrats finally speak out against far-left violence and blame Trump. I mean, that's the game they play. Right? And that's what these kids that I just showed you, that's what they fall for every time, because they don't know any better. And in a lot of cases, they don't have a two-parent household, or they don't have strong role models in their life who teach them the difference between right and wrong. And obviously, they don't seem to have a very strong relationship with Jesus Christ and God in their hearts, which is probably would solve everything if we could get that, as far and as wide as possible. But here you see it for yourself. They're the masters of manipulation and deception, and they turn around and they spin everything in a way that helps facilitate more destruction, because that's their end goal. Their end goal is to have us keep fighting each other so that we just ignore them, and we ignore their crimes, we ignore the treason, we ignore the coup, we ignore the fact that Google was working with China to help censor and violate human rights abroad. We ignore the fact that Twitter is being run by a bunch of radical Marxist, communist, crazy people who are just literally trying to work every day to undermine the 2020 election, skew it using their huge system that is social media and to deceive people and trick them. And it's just like, the only way to overcome it is to call it out for what it is. And here we have a judge, violence, senseless violence. This is crazy, right? This judge was just minding her own business and got cold cocked out of nowhere, just punched and knocked out. I don't know her political affiliation, but I can guarantee you she's a Trump supporter now. Because no words exchanged. Listen to this. With no words exchanged, a bicyclist riding the opposite direction as the one she was walking in just punched her in the face and kept going. I mean, I'm reminded of that video of the young, evil man, I would say, who literally was just walking, and an old lady's like got a little walker and she's going her own way, and he just pushes her down. It's like, this is the devil. This is what evil looks like incarnate. It is here. It is all around us, and we have to focus on Jesus Christ to get over it and through this, because this is crazy. But, nobody said it would be easy, right? 100% Antifa. Portland police investigate suspect identified by 4chan hours after shooting. And it looks like this is the guy who randomly just shot the Patriot Prayer individual in may have shot him, but his name was Aaron Danielson. Yeah, this is disgusting, but it seems as though that's what Zero Hedge is reporting. And when you look at what's happening in these cities, you can see that it only matters to the politicians when it affects them. So this is what happened, right? So the police were called finally after they went to the Portland mayor's house and in his neighborhood, at the dentist's office near it. They were burning it down. They were committing all these violence. And so now they call the police to come help, right? And I said here on Twitter, I said, well, when it's their condo and dentist, you better believe they're going to do something. but just not when it's yours or mine or ours. So if it was our neighborhood or our house, they wouldn't lift a finger, right? Because they look at us as being second-class citizens who aren't deserving of constitutional freedom. They look at us as being, just, I don't know, just less than they are, which is the whole point of the leftism, I think, is that they are better than you and that they deserve better things than you. Everything should be free. They could take all your tax money from hard work that you do to give it to people who haven't done anything their whole life, and that's just the way that they're gonna run the country. This is crazy too. I'm out here in California, and this was brought up by Aubrey Huff over here on Twitter, saying SB 145 was just passed in California, allowing registered sex offenders to no longer be considered a sex offender if the offender is within 10 years of the age or 10 years of age of the minor. This is disgusting. This is evil. This is literally, like he says, it's this new Sodom and Gomorrah. And, I'm doing my best to help make California red again and get these people out of there and recall Gavin Newsom and do all that, and get Nancy Pelosi out of office. But look, these people have taken large portions of our country. They control them, and they're trying to turn them into their evil bastion so they can commit their evil. Do you imagine that? So that would be like a 21-year-old guy rapes and molests a 10 or 11-year-old and doesn't have to register as a sex offender. That's crazy. That's disgusting. That's evil, in my opinion. And Attorney General William Barr is apparently not doing the best job he can, according to Thomas Paine over here on his podcast, where they talk about what happened to Flynn, which just came out that the appeals court has rejected Michael Flynn's effort to have charges dismissed, which is just, and now they've pushed it to after the election, I think. So now we're not even going to have a resolution before the election as far as getting General Flynn fully cleared, right? Because these judges are in a fraternity, and they, they don't care. They don't care about law. They know the law fare that they can use to destroy a man's life, to put him out of business, to put him out of commission. And it's all these people on their little power trips trying to cover up for all the stuff that we've exposed, the coup from top to bottom. So, yeah. Do with that what you will. As the Department of Justice and the Federal Bureau of Investigation announced critical reforms to enhance compliance, oversight, and accountability at the FBI. Well, it's about time. I'd say it's maybe, I don't know, a decade late, 2 decades late, 3 decades late, but at least we're getting somewhere, right? And that's where we're going to go ahead and leave it. I want to say thanks to everyone for watching. Make sure that, like I said before, you break the algorithm and the suppression by sharing these videos on your social media. Get them out there, even though even the social media is blocking the links and pushing them down. It's like all we can do is put the words out there, and people will listen, right? That's the way I look at it. So share it and leave your thoughts, theories, and insights below. I want to hear what you guys have to say about everything. Also, you can find me over here on Twitter at JustinformedU is the Twitter channel you can find me on. Plus, I'm over at informed_news, and I'm on Parlor at JustinformedTalk. And you can come to justinformednews.com for links to the Q stuff, real news sites, links to the videos, and breaking news for you guys to check out there. Also, I'm on BitChute as the backup channel. Just Informed Talk on BitChute. You can find me over there. And by the way, guys, I'm going to be in Miami attending the American Priority Conference. And it looks like after our major interview that we did with Alex Phillips, who's the president of the conference, and we did that on Friday. And I guess over the weekend, you guys went and you booked up all the rooms in their hotel block. But I think they've expanded the block now, so there's more rooms. And this is at Trump National. It's in Doral in Miami. It's a beautiful resort. It's going to be an amazing time with a bunch of incredible speakers. And you can get your travel arrangements done. Go down there. It's October 8th through 12th, I believe, or actually 8th through 11th. And it's going to be there. And, you're not going to have to worry about crazy protesters and stuff because it's a big resort, and it'll be kind of self-contained, and they have security and everything. So if you're worried about that, it's a great place. Plus, if you're worried about COVID and all that, I don't know what to tell you. Wear a mask or do whatever you want. But I'll be there, and I know there's going to be a lot of major speakers. I mean, Donald Trump Jr. was the headline speaker last year, and he did a great speech, him with a bunch of other cool people and just people you want to meet. Tom Fitton from Judicial Watch, I got to meet him briefly. People like Scott Pressler's doing great stuff. and so many more. Zach Voorhees, the Google whistleblower, and just a bunch of other people. Project Veritas will be there. So if you want to get involved, I'll leave a link to the website. You can go sign up and you use the coupon code JUSTINFORMEDNEWS, and you'll get $45 off your ticket. So go check that out today. Also, don't forget, if you want to support this channel, you can find me over here on Patreon, patreon.com/JustinFormedTalk. This is where you make a monthly donation. And look, I'm trying to do my best to keep this channel funded and going because YouTube's demonetized it. They've tried to put it out of business. But I rely on you guys for your support, and I'm so thankful. Without you guys supporting this channel, I couldn't afford to do this every day. I couldn't make it a career. I couldn't be blessed by God to be able to share his word every single day that I can. So it's truly a blessing, and it's humbling when you guys support me in such it's such a way that makes it possible. So thank you. I also have a GoFundMe set up if you want to make a one-time or anonymous donation. Links to everything will be in the description below. Now, before we go, we do a segment called God's Grace is Greater. Today, I'm going to share this incredible passage out of 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 1 through 11, and it talks about resurrection being essential to the gospel. And this is so powerful, and I just want to share these words and almost let them speak for themselves to your heart. If you've been wondering, what's this all about? This here it tells it perfectly. It says, "Now, brothers and sisters, I want to clarify for you the gospel I proclaimed to you. You receive it and have taken your stand on it. You are also saved by it, if you hold to the message I proclaimed to you, unless you believed to no purpose. For I passed on to you as most important what I also received, that Christ died for our sins, according to the Scriptures, and that he was buried, that he was raised on the third day, according to the Scriptures, and that he appeared to Cephas, then to the 12, then he appeared to over 500 brothers at one time, most of whom remain to the present, but some have fallen asleep. Then he appeared to James, then to all the apostles. Last of all, as to one abnormally born, he also appeared to me. For I am the least of the apostles, unworthy to be called an apostle, because I persecuted the church of God. But by God's grace, I am what I am, and his grace toward me was not effective. However, I worked more than any of them, yet not I, but God's grace that was with me. Therefore, whether it is I or they, so we preach, and so you have believed." Now, I kind of unpack that because it's a powerful message, but imagine this. Our Savior, Jesus Christ, who died on the cross for our sins, he came down to earth, right? Became a human, right? Took on the form of one of us, lived a perfect life, was persecuted, was killed for doing nothing wrong. Then he came back from the dead and he appeared to how many people here? Many. Hundreds. And they saw him, and then they wrote these words inspired by the perfect life and the sacrifice that was made by God for our sins. So that's the message I try to share with people, especially, I talk to some people who aren't, very strong in their faith, and I tell them, can you imagine that Jesus died for your sins, our sins, so that we may have this eternal salvation? Because before Jesus, death led to death, but now death leads to life everlasting. So take that message and share it with your family, your friends, your loved ones, and reference that quote, and talk about how amazing this story is and how powerful it is, and it's changed my life, and I hope it changes your life, and I hope you can use it to help change other people's lives. So thank you guys for watching. That's where I'm going to go ahead and leave it. Remember to come here, click the big red subscribe button, then hit that bell, and also hit that like button, smash it, whatever. And tomorrow we're going to have a big interview. I'm interviewing Adam Krigler from the Adamcast IRL, formerly on the Timcast IRL podcast. So that's going to be a cool interview. I'm excited about it. But that's it for me. Thanks for watching this episode of Just Informed Talk. My name is Craig. Godspeed and God bless each and every one of you, Patriots.